Exterior, Transylvania, night. Mist envelops a dark forest. The sound of wolves can be heard. A man, Harker, writes in a journal.
The Journal of Jonathan Harker. My keeping this as a record of my travels to my beloved Nina. At what has felt like a lifetime, I have made it to the heart of the Carpathian Mountains, in the region Transylvania. Tonight, I will be leaving Blistrix and meeting the carriage sent to me by my client, Count Dracula. At the Borgo Pass earlier at dinner, an old woman learned where I was going and begged me not to see the Count. Insisting that I must go, she pressed a rosary into my hand, saying that the dead did travel fast.
Exterior, Castle Dracula, night. Harker arrives at the door of a large and ancient castle. He knocks. The door opens to reveal an old man.
Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own will.
Count Dracula?
I am Dracula. I bid you welcome, Mr. Harker. Come in.
Harker enters the castle and Dracula shuts the door. Interior, Castle Dracula, entrance, night. Harker reaches for his luggage, but Dracula picks them up.
Please, allow me. It is late, and my servants are asleep. I shall see to your comfort myself.
Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, night. Dracula puts the luggage near the bed. Harker looks around.
I trust you will find all you wish. When you are ready, come to the dining room, where your supper will be ready.
Dracula leaves the room. Harker opens his luggage and takes his journal.
I have arrived at the castle and have met my client, Count Dracula. He is an old man. How old I cannot tell. He speaks perfect English, and yet with a strange intonation. I am in a sea of wonders.
Interior, Castle Dracula, dining room, night. Harker is eating a chicken meal while Dracula is looking over some papers.
I feel so rude that I am...
Please excuse, I do not join you, but I have already dined, and I do not sup.
Harker goes back to eating.
Your superior, Mr. Hawkins, speaks highly of you.
Oh?
He says you will be a sufficient substitute with the acquisition of the house.
I will certainly do my best, Count.
I'm sure you will.
The howl of wolves are heard. Dracula turns to listen.
Listen to them, the children of the night. What music they make.
It is visibly lighter outside. Dracula rises from his seat.
But you must be tired. I have to be away until the afternoon tomorrow, so sleep as late as you wish.
Harker rises from his seat.
Good night, Count.
Dracula bows back and leaves. Interior, Castle Dracula, dining room, morning. Harker sees a meal on the table, along with a card. Harker picks it up.
I have to be absent for a while. Do not wait for me.
Interior, Castle Dracula, library, night. A table shows books relating to England, geology, and law. Harker decides he can work in there and exits. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, night. Harker takes out some notebooks, paper, and a pen. Interior, Castle Dracula, hallways, night. Harker walks down the hallways and makes it back to Interior, Castle Dracula, library, night. Harker is surprised to see Dracula sitting in another chair.
I am glad you have found your way here. Through these books, I have come to know your great England, and to know her is to love her.
Dracula motions Harker to sit in the opposite chair.
I long to go through its crowded streets, to share in its life, change, and death. But alas, I only know your tongue through books.
But, Count, you know and speak English thoroughly.
True, I know the grammar and the words, and yet I do not know how to speak them. As we talk, I shall learn English intonation from you, and you may tell me when I make an error, even the smallest, in my speaking.
Certainly, Count.
Good. Now let us speak of the home which you have procured for me.
Harker takes out his notes.
The estate is called Carfax, and it is in Essex, surrounded by a high wall of ancient structure built of heavy stones and has not repaired for many years. The closed gates are heavy old oak and iron, all eaten with rust.
Is it a large house?
Very, and of all periods back, I should say to medieval times.
Are there any neighbors?
There are only a few houses close at hand, one being a lunatic asylum, but none are visible from the grounds.
I am glad it is old. I am from an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. This will do well.
Dracula rises from his seat.
Come, Mr. Harker. Your supper must be ready now.
Interior Castle Dracula dining room morning. Harker's plate is empty and he is visibly tired. A cock crows and Dracula rises.
I leave you to your rest.
Dracula starts to leave, but turns to speak.
One more thing. You may go anywhere you wish in the castle, except where the doors are locked, where, of course, you will not wish to go. We are in Transylvania, and Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. Please respect this request.
Of course, Count.
Good.
Dracula smiles, revealing his pointed teeth. He leaves. Interior Castle Dracula, Harker's room, night. Harker wakes up and looks at a picture of his beloved Mina. Interior Castle Dracula, bathroom, night. Harker takes out a small mirror and begins to shave. A hand touches Harker's shoulder. It's Dracula's.
Good morning.
Harker turns to look at Dracula, then looks at his mirror. Dracula has no reflection. Harker's neck is bleeding. Dracula tries to grab Harker's throat, but he then draws away after touching Harker's crucifix.
You must take care how you cut yourself. It is more dangerous than you think in this country.
Dracula grabs Harker's mirror and goes to the window.
Mirrors are not allowed in my castle. It is a foul reminder of man's vanity.
Dracula throws the mirror out the castle and then leaves. Interior Castle Dracula, hallways, morning. Harker goes to various doors throughout the castle, all of which are locked. Interior Castle Dracula, Harker's room, morning. Harker writes in his journal.
The castle is on the very edge of a terrible precipice. All the doors are locked and bolted. In no place, save from the windows. In the castle walls is there an exit. The castle is a veritable prison, and I am a prisoner.
Interior Castle Dracula, dining room, night. Harker eats his meal slowly as Dracula watches.
Count, I've talked much about England to you. What can you tell me about Transylvania?
What would you like to know?
How about your ancestors? What of your family? Are you, after all, a boyar, a man of nobility?
We have a right to be proud, for in our veins flows the blood of many brave races, the blood of Attila being one of many. Is it a wonder that we were a conquering race? When the Magyar and the Lombard, the Avar, or the Turk poured his 1,000 troops upon our frontiers, we drove them back. When the great shame of my nation was redeemed, when the flags of the Magyar went down beneath the crescent, who was it but one of my own race who crossed the Danube and beat a Turk on his own ground? That this was a Dracula indeed. The Dracula can boast a record that mushrooms the growth like the Hesperus and the Romanovs can never reach. But the warlike days are over. Blood is too precious a thing to be spilt these days. Of dishonorable peace, the glories of the great races are as a tale that is old.
Harker is silent.
Tell me, Mr. Harker, have you written your first letter to Mr. Hawkins or to any other?
Not yet.
Then right now, my friend,
Dracula gets out of his seat and brings Harker some papers, envelope, and a pen.
tell Mr. Hawkins and to any others that you will stay with me until a month from now.
Do you wish me to stay so long?
I will take no refusal. I pray will you not discourse other things than business.
Harker begins to write as Dracula watches, smiling. Harker finishes writing. Dracula takes the letters. He begins to leave, but turns.
I leave you with this word of advice. If you leave this room, see that you do not go to sleep in any other part of the castle. Farewell, my friend.
Dracula exits. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, night. Harker paces his room. He hears a strange noise outside. He opens his window to see Dracula emerging from a window and climbing down the walls of the castle. Aghast, Harker flees his room. Interior, Castle Dracula, hallways, night. Harker tries to open multiple doors, all locked except one. Interior, Castle Dracula, mysterious room, night. Harker falls upon a sofa and begins to sob.
Mina.
He falls asleep. During the night, the laughter of women can be heard. Harker awakens to see 3 women before him.
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Harker.
Go on. You are first. We shall follow.
He is young and strong.
Yes, I am first.
Woman 3 approaches Harker and prepares to bite his throat. When Dracula emerges, holding a sack in his hand, he grabs Woman 3 and throws her to the others.
How dare you touch him? I have forbidden it. This man belongs to me.
You have never loved.
Never loved.
Never loved.
Yes, I too can love. You yourselves can tell it from the past. I promise you that when I am done with him, he shall be yours. Now, go.
And what of us? Are we to have nothing tonight?
Dracula holds up the sack and throws it to the ground. A baby can be heard crying. The women fling themselves upon the bag and tear it apart. Blood drips on their faces. Harker faints. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, morning. Harker wakes up. He grasps his throat. He hears noises outside his window and goes to look out. Harker sees 2 gypsy men digging dirt and pouring it into wooden boxes. Interior, Castle Dracula, library, night. Harker rests in a chair, cigarette in hand. The door opens.
My friend, it is time for your loved ones should hear from you once more. You will write 3 letters. One that you shall be leaving soon. One that you are starting on the next morning. And one that you have arrived in Bistrix.
Dracula hands Harker the paper and stares him down. Reluctantly, Harker takes the paper. Dracula smiles. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, morning. Harker writes a secret letter. He looks out the window and gets the attention of one of the gypsies. Harker throws both the letter and a sack of coins down. The gypsy takes both and waves to Harker, who in turn rests in the corner of the room. Interior, Castle Dracula, dining room, night. Harker sits at an empty table. Dracula appears from behind.
My friend, have you noticed our guests?
Yes?
The gypsies. Fearless people without religion, save superstition. They attach themselves to some great noble and call themselves by his name.
And the ones outside are...
Mine. And like a good servant,
Dracula reveals Harker's secret letter.
they have given me this letter, which fell into their possession. It is a vile thing, an outrage upon friendship and hospitality.
Dracula approaches the fireplace and throws the letter in. Harker stands.
I wish to leave. Tonight.
I am afraid that is impossible.
Why?
Because, dear sir, my coachman and horses are away.
I shall walk.
After a long silence, Dracula takes a candle.
Very well. Come with me, my friend.
Interior, Castle Dracula, entrance night. Dracula opens the entrance door, and the sound of wolves can be heard. They grow louder and louder until Harker can bear it no longer.
Shut the door. Merciful Lord in heaven, shut the door.
Dracula shuts the door.
I shall wait until morning.
Dracula smiles, revealing his sharp teeth, and leaves a distraught Harker, who falls to the floor. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, morning. Harker begins to take out his journal when he hears voices.
Tomorrow,
Jonathan Harker.
Tomorrow.
Harker walks to the door, opens it, and sees the three women.
Tomorrow, Jonathan Harker.
you shall be all ours.
All ours. Tomorrow, Jonathan Harker.
They laugh and hiss, and in his horror, Harker slams the door. He writes in his journal.
These may be the last words I shall ever write. The sunlight and crucifix have given me courage. He dislikes these two things. I shall attempt to scale the wall of the castle and escape.
Harker closes the journal and looks toward the window. Exterior, castle wall, window, morning. Harker edges himself down the wall and eventually places his feet on the side of a window ledge. He peers into the window and sees a large box. Overly curious, he opens the window and enters. Interior, Castle Dracula, basement, morning. A wretched smell encompasses the room and grows stronger as Harker approaches the box. With all his strength, he opens it, and there lies Dracula, sleeping. His appearance is that of a young man, and his mouth is covered in blood. Repulsed, Harker backs away. He sees a shovel, grabs it, and swings at Dracula's head. Dracula's eyes open and stare at Harker, who drops the shovel. The approaching gypsies can be heard, and Harker flees to the window. Dracula smiles and closes his eyes. Interior, Castle Dracula, Harker's room, night. Harker writes in his journal, as the sound of wolves and laughter of the women can be heard.
I have heard the others depart the castle, taking with them the boxes of dirt and the Count himself. I am alone in the castle with those awful women. But I shall try to escape and one last time and flee this cursed place. If I fail, then at least the precipice is steep and high, and its foot a man may sleep a man. Goodbye all, goodbye my darling Nina, and damn you, Dracula.